Okay. Wow. So you have two knights in here, King of Wands. So you have in your underlying energy the Eight of Wands coming up. Communication is definitely the focus of the relationship. The Two of Cups is coming up with the Eight of Wands. So this thing's moving very fast in regards to a connection between you and an individual. You guys could be meeting somebody new recently, or have met someone new, for those of you that don't really necessarily have a relationship right now. But I do get the sense that there is something in regards to two people coming together. For those of you that have no one in your life at all, this could be talking about communication in general to meet somebody, or something, going, moving fast, in regards to potentially, getting to where you guys want to be in regards to making a relationship happen. Currently, so you have the Knight of Swords. So there's some combative energies. There's some things going on, things being said that's pretty darn straightforward. With the Knight of Swords, he doesn't really play around when it comes to his truth. He fights for it very seriously, even though it may not be the best thing he's fighting for. He just wholeheartedly believes in it. He's willing to beat anybody down that says that, otherwise. He can be very stubborn in that sense. And he's still like a young person in the tarot, so this could indicate someone that has a different maturity level. So somebody that kind of charges in and talks a whole bunch of stuff, and they don't necessarily have a lot of facts to back it up. That could be the whole case here with this I'm getting. But with this individual, they're very combative. They're very they don't know harsh, but they're very grumpy. That's what I'm saying. They're very grumpy. They're very serious. They don't really play around. They're not really interested in, being super passionate right now, because you got a lot more cards here that are indicating some struggle. So, what you guys want to be is the King of Wands. This individual, potentially, being more of a passionate type. That's someone that utilizes their energy in a very creative fashion. They're very extroverted. They attract a lot of people. They're very attractive, potentially. There's also an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius potentially. But if you don't have any of the, if you don't have a fire sign currently around you, then they're feeling, you want them to be, I don't know, this could be that you want somebody to be more passionate, or there's somebody in this relationship that needs to be more passionate, more exciting, more, bring in the goodness, you know what I mean? I really feel like just utilizing that, that combative energy in a way that's very passionate, very romantic, potentially. Somebody in this relationship potentially needs to be, not needs to be this way, but that's the desired outcome. But the thing that's keeping them from being that passionate, very sexy individual, is the Five of Wands. There's a lot of combative energy, right? Conflicts, things going on. There's some things being said, and some dirt being dished out, but not in a bad way. It's not like the Five of Swords where there is some brutal stuff happening. This is still very intense, no doubt, but with the Five of Wands, I do get this feeling that it's just, it's so, I don't know, it's combative in the sense, or it's conflictive in a sense that there's just a lot going on. There's some hashing out of ways of doing something, some different techniques, different styles of handling stuff. There's something that's not being agreed upon at the end of the day. Someone doesn't agree to this. There's also potentially a competition here. That's probably why you had the Two of Cups coming up, because maybe you feel a connection with somebody, but you have other people that are trying to get to this King of Wands, or potentially you have somebody around you at this time that's fighting over you, and you want that one individual potentially, or there's somebody that's you're waiting for the victor. But the Five of Wands, the King of Wands don't fight. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna get what I want. I mean, he's pretty dang on ruthless himself, but he's got skills, he's got ways of doing stuff. Five of Wands is a competition here, or this is some like back and forth. It's just, It's not necessarily bad. It's always good to have some change. It's very uncomfortable usually though. And I feel like it's just about how things are done, especially when it comes to communication. Maybe there's just some ways of communicating that neither one of you want to tolerate, or neither one of you don't like, or neither one of you like, right? So I feel like there may be some sort of ways of doing things that are being communicated at this time that needs some drastic change. Judgment is coming up here, so this is a situation that's happened potentially before, but most importantly, this is another change card. For those of you that may be dealing with somebody that's got a really strong Pluto placement, or a Pluto placement that conjuncts yours potentially, or opposes, possibly squaring even, any significant synastry chart reading placement that comes up for you guys with them. Yeah, this could be talking about that, but most importantly, it could be talking about Scorpio. Okay, but it mostly talks about change, right? I keep saying that, right? Mostly talks about this. No, it really talks about change. These other little side stuff that you can add on, if you guys understand and know how to do with synastry reading. But if you don't worry about it. Discard that. Judgment is about change. It's showing that you've changed. It's showing that you've changed from the situations that's happened before. So this is not the first time you guys have had, you and your partners potentially had some back and forth, right? It's not going to stop, right? It's not going to end. There's always going to be a back and forth. Every change or every conflict that comes up in relationships is a make or break moment. Can you guys stand the test of time? Can you guys remain strong? Can you guys push through it and find a solution? Or have you guys reached your deal breakers? Have you found the new deal breakers that can potentially make the relationship a little bit more difficult to be involved in? And then, so the situation is a call to action. I feel like there was something that happened here in the past where there was, similar situations, or there was something that happened where there was some conflict and there needed to be some sort of resolution. There's somebody that needed to do something here, or there was some sort of action that was taking place. But I don't think it's anybody's fault that the Five of Wands came up, right? I just feel like this is probably another situation where there is some conversation that may not be very pleasant from some individual that's not really communicating in the way that's calm enough to handle. Because the Knight of Swords, he is not calm. He's coming at it fast. He's like, And so there's somebody that's very, very combative right now, but it's not a situation that that's new. You've dealt with this before. Somebody's dealt with this situation before. And I feel like it's all about utilizing that information, that knowledge, into the conflict that you've got now. The thing here is somebody's feeling very stuck in their head. The best path to follow is the Eight of Swords. So somebody's very stuck. They don't see like there's an option. Maybe this individual's cornering them. I don't know. It feels like this Knight of Swords is like pushing them back and screaming at them. They're like, oh snap, what? I don't know I can't get out. I don't know where to move. But they're like, but this individual, they don't even see where they're coming. They have no idea where they're coming from. So it's hard to make, proper judgment, especially if there's a lot of stuff going at you or coming at you. Or most importantly, there's a lot of stuff in your head that's keeping you from being able to make the next move, make moves that would potentially improve the situation that's happening. So it's very important, especially with the situation, is to see what's going on. Okay, really pick apart the details and really figure out what's the best options to move forward, to be able to be more calm, to even if you have this kind of this energy, to really utilize it in the relationship that can benefit the both of you guys. This Eight of Swords, somebody who doesn't see that there's a solution. They don't feel it, like they're just, their thoughts are keeping them from opening up, but they have experience in this. They've got experience. Maybe not with this exact situation, right? This is not the Wheel of Fortune that says that. But there is some sort of situation that's coming out that's very similar. And there's somebody that's risen up from the ashes before. Did the action, it's a call to action. So there is a solution. It's just hard to see and remember probably right now, because there's a lot going on. So there's definitely some compassion that's needed here, especially with taking it easy on yourself, on the person, whoever's doing this. There's got to be a little bit of patience, because this is still like, if anything happens like that with me, I know I'd get jarred. I'd be like, ooh, whoa. So definitely, right? It makes sense why somebody here wouldn't be able to see it through, right? Wouldn't be able to see that there's options to make, to push forward, especially if there's some competitive energy. Now, in the feelings here, you guys have the star. Now, the star I like. Okay, it's really showing that there is hope, there is solutions. This is a reset button, in my opinion. When I see the star, that's the reset button, because after the tower, right, which destroys everything, it's an unexpected change, don't see it coming. The Knight of Swords coming in super fast, so he may as well be unexpected. So, I mean, I feel like there is this hope and everything. So I still feel like, for a lot of you guys out there, you feel like there is still potential for this relationship to blossom. There may be a restart button that has been pressed here, but there is still something that can be retained, that can be fixed, that can be healed. So there is this healing potential here, and I like that. I really like that, Virgo. I like that positive energy. For those of you guys that are maybe feeling something opposite to this, maybe you guys feel like the relationship is taking a really, really weird turn, and you don't know if you guys can make it. You don't know if you guys, this relationship is too far out of your reach. And I have this feeling, guys, that this is the reason why it's coming up. If you don't have faith in your relationship, if somebody doesn't have faith in the relationship, then this situation in the relationship will really build that. It will either build it or break it. It will show you your comfort zones. It'll show you your ability to handle situations, especially if they're very similar to something of the past. But this is a time now that really can restore this hope in your relationship, the star. Within yourself, though, right? The relationship can be retained, can be rebuilt. It can find a new place of stability if you believe in yourself to make that happen. So, and the star is always talking about, hey, things happen. There's some conflict that always happens, but there's always a new start. There's always something that can happen new, fresh. Judgment shows that. You don't ever just die. You have another chance. You can start over. You can start something new. And with the star here, I feel like that is a new way of setting things right. It's an opportunity to give back. It's an opportunity to make something happen that potentially didn't happen before. Judgment, star. So I feel like, but for most of you guys, I feel like you guys do feel like you still have a lot of hope left. Like you still, this may be crazy, but it ain't make a break. I'm not finna drop the ball in this relationship just because we having some words. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're like, this is still my boo. I still feel like there's an absolute way to get through, to make this relationship work. It just may be a little difficult right now having a conversation with somebody that's coming at you all hard, right? But you've been here before. There's some sort of situation that that's very similar to this can be tackled. You just got to remember what situation and how to really go about it. And it may be actually being aggressive in itself as well. Who knows? We'll see. Let's go ahead and get a little bit further in with your hopes and fears. You have the Ace of Cups coming up. And that is talking about new love, a new beginning, healing energy as well. So I feel like you guys really want to be able to repair what's being disassembled at this moment. The foundation is, the relationship is still there. It's just that there's some things that are going to be readjusted, and that's totally acceptable. And the change can be difficult, like as I said before. It can definitely be difficult. But the Ace of Cups talks about healing. It talks about being emotionally open, and it's a new beginning in love. So you guys may want to start something new. Something new, something exciting. There could be some situation here that with this individual as well, that they want to start something new and exciting as well. Because how is being moved on in the future is the Knight of Cups, right? The outcome is romance, it's compassion, it's taking the steps to be emotionally aware of what you want. So Virgo, somebody's coming in with an offer of love. Someone's probably going to finally relax a little bit, come at you with a little bit more sensitivity. Or maybe that there's a realization that the reason why this person's going in so hard, so fast, so seriously is because they ended up wanting something in the first place, something that really made them feel vulnerable in the first place. So they acted as such to get this sort of offer out to you. Maybe they were just super aggressive about how they were going to, super aggressive about, this competition, right? Maybe they felt like there was other people around you. Maybe they feel like there's competition. So maybe the whole conversation about, this whole thing about, not being able to communicate with rational mind, right? With a rational mind. Because, the Knight of Swords, in my opinion, when he comes in fast, it's like, how are you going to be able to be rational about it? I get that you're an air sign, you can think very fast, but how is that rational? So, he's not calm. Like, you know what I mean? So, I feel like this person really is fighting through the crowd to get to you, to show you that, hey, I actually like you. For those of you that are not in a relationship, that are, dealing with multiple individuals potentially, I'm not saying that you guys potentially are, right? But for those of you that are a public figure or someone that's, out there and people know who you are, and you're like seen as someone that's really, that's hot as fire, it's going to be, you're going to probably have a lot of suitors, and this one individual is trying to get through the mass to get to you. Or vice versa. There could be someone else that's doing that. But, those are just examples. But I feel like what's happening here is that someone may be feeling very, very vulnerable, very, very exposed, potentially. And they're going after the truth. They're saying these truths, right? Just to be more emotionally, to show their emotions. Judgment. It's so interesting when it comes up here because it's a situation that's difficult, no doubt. But with love, it's a situation where it's a situation where it's going to require some action, potentially one of difference. You know what I mean? Because you've been here before, right? You've had a situation come up where you have to act, but act differently potentially. Judgment isn't just like, okay, the situation happened again, do what you did last time. Not necessarily so. You've been through a certain cycle, and you're up to the challenge now to really make a decision about whether doing something the old way or doing something the new way. The new way may be that you may want to come with compassion, but this person, coming with compassion, showing your love, listening with an open heart, but also really making very clear and focused what it is that you expect, what it is your heart's desire. Being vulnerable and, open with them, showing calm, serene energy, healing energy, because that's, peace. But that's what judgment is all about, right? It's not about doing the same thing that you've done before. It's about doing something different because of what you've been through, doing something one way the first time, and how it may not have really developed in the best way possible. So it's about doing something that changes the course of action, not having to go through, something that's fated. It's not fated energy. It's a call of action. It's saying, hey, this is your opportunity to show who you are now, because you're not the same person from this last time you've been through a conflict like this before, Virgo, or the person here. You know what I mean? I just feel like this is you guys. You guys are not the same individual who had some sort of back and forth with their partner before. This ain't you. So handling it differently will definitely show how much you've changed. Show how many holes and hells you had to walk through to become this amazing person that you are now. But it's going to take some time to remember that. It's going to take you to, take you out of your head to look at it. It's going to require you to see what's in front of you, to see that there is always a solution. You guys are the masters at finding solutions. But it's kind of hard to do it for yourself, right? It's always hard to do it for yourself. And I'm definitely want to preach about that, because when it comes to helping people find solutions, it's great. But when it comes to other people, when it comes to myself, it's difficult. Well, let me pull you guys your romance angels. You guys have playfulness, To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Yeah, there's some serious energy going down. Serious energy, a lot of combative energy. But it's a, yeah, it's not a break or break situation. That's what I'm getting. So I feel like with this energy, right, it doesn't have to be so serious if you don't want it to be. You got to look at it from the way that it's being presented to you. Not saying to take it lightly, but it also means, it doesn't mean, not to close up and kind of feel like there's no opportunity to move forward. I'm going way over time, so I hope you guys don't mind. I'm getting a lot of these messages here, so I'm pretty hype about this. But, yeah, I don't think it means to take it lightly, but bring in some light energy, or playfulness can really take the heat off, right? This individual needs to do the same thing in a way, but I feel like playfulness, it does kind of look like there's a lot of tightness, there's a lot of seriousness. And this is a relationship that's restarting, it's blossoming. And there's a way to making it beautiful and really fun to be around. But it's going to require some romance, some imagination, some lighthearted energy. Definitely would encourage, whatever's being said in these back and forth to be, of course, be taken seriously, right? Because this is talking about someone's truth here. But then it's also really breaking down and seeing what's going on, what's really going on, what's hidden behind the circumstances rather than what's being, just being said. It's always looking deeper within. But it's hard to do that if there's something that's, the thoughts are kind of keeping your eyes from being opened enough to see what's going on. Nobody's to blame for this either. Ooh, a leg up. So you guys, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's definitely nothing wrong with asking for help. I'm not saying that you potentially need counseling, but maybe a mediator or something like that. But a leg up, it could indicate that you don't have to feel like you're doing everything by yourself, in a sense. And it's very interesting that comes up because, this is a situation where, you're having to, bring down the heat with some sort of situation between conversations. Okay? Or maybe there's something that someone's trying to execute and they're just kind of like, they feel supported in a way. And the Knight of Cups comes in. I have no direct and precise way to really apply that whole situation to everybody, but I do get the sense that maybe some things that come up you don't have to handle on your own. It takes two to tango. When it comes to relationships, it takes two to tango. So if there's something that, especially when it comes to the conflicts coming up, it takes two to make it work. So that's potentially why a solution is so important. Okay? Don't ever feel like you have to do it by yourselves.